Bristol Community College, Mathematics with Dan Avedikian, Math 060, Topics in Developmental Mathematics, Section 2.9, Problem 18. This is Section 2.9, Problem 18. We have 7 1/6 minus 1 3/4. So to do a subtraction, we have to make a common denominator, and a good denominator is 12 because 6 divides into 12 evenly and 4 also divides into 12 evenly. So let's set up the common denominator and then figure out what the numerators have to be. So for the upper fraction, the denominator of 6 times some value multiplies to 12. Well, the sum value must be 2. 6 times 2 is 12, so the numerator gets multiplied times that same amount of 2. 1 times 2 is 2. And then for the lower fraction, the 3/4, the denominator of 4 times some value makes it 12, so the sum value must be 3. 4 times 3 is 12. So the numerator must be multiplied times the same amount. 3 times 3 is 9. So now I can go ahead and subtract. I have a common denominator. But I have a problem. I want to subtract 2 minus 9. The 2 in the upper fraction is not big enough. So this is one of those cases where we need to borrow. So to borrow, take the whole number that goes with the fraction, cross it off, and reduce it by 1. So it was a 7. I'm going to reduce it down to a 6. And now what I do is take the numerator that's not big enough, cross that off, and make a new numerator. The new numerator is the denominator plus the old numerator. 12 plus 2 more is the denominator plus the old numerator, which is 14. Now I can subtract. 14 minus 9 is 5. My common denominator is 12. And with the whole numbers, 6 minus 1 is 5. So I have 5 and 5/12. Now that's the answer. Now not everyone cares to borrow. Let's say you don't really like to borrow, or you forget how. Well, let's start the problem again. And let's say you get to this part. So you have, let's say you have 7 2/12 minus 1 9/12. So you started trying to find the common denominator, and you realize that you have to borrow, and you're not sure if you remember the steps. So at this point, what you can do is just make them both improper fractions and subtract that way, and you'll never have to borrow. So for an improper fraction, that's a fraction where the numerator is larger than the denominator. 12 times 7 is 84, and then you take that result of 84 and add the numerator. 84 plus 2 more is 86. So I would have 86 over 12. Minus, do the same process with 1 and 9/12, make it an improper fraction. The denominator times the number in front, 12 times 1 is 12. Take that result of 12 and add to the top. 12 plus 9 more is 21. Also over the denominator of 12. And now I can subtract 86 minus 21. So 6 minus 1 is 5. 8 minus 2 is 6. So I have 65 over 12. Now that is the answer. It looks different right now than 5 and 5/12, but if I convert the 65 over 12 back to a mixed number, it should come out the same. So let's try that. So to convert to a mixed number, I want to divide the denominator of 12 into the numerator, 65. So 12 goes into 6. 6 isn't big enough, so we have to do 12 goes into 65. Well, as close as you're going to get is 5. 5 times 12 is 60. 65 minus 60 is 5, so my remainder is 5. So I have 5 and 5/12, which is the same answer I got with the borrowing. So if you remember how to borrow, you can do it quicker. If you forget how to borrow, with only a little bit more work using improper fractions, you can still get the same answer without borrowing.